It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to jump in that gigantic sharp interactive board. I want to share my thoughts on the MPSA. The Managed Print Services Association, they announced their 2025 winners. And folks, I got to ask you all a question. Is the MPSA a complete nonsensical association? I've asked this before. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they absolutely are. The MPSA, folks, I got to tell you something. They have lost all credibility with me. All credibility. And that happened in that 22-21 time frame. When I really started paying attention to what was going on in the MPSA, they lost all credibility with me. And I'm going to explain that again today. But I wanted to find out who won the 2025 awards. And I go to the website, and they're not on the website. You know, last time I critiqued the MPSA a few years ago, I was bringing up the fact that there was some stuff on their website I thought should have got updated. And people were just like, you know, they're yelling at me, Ray, you're so mean. You know, I can't believe you're this mean. These people are all volunteers. Hey, I appreciate volunteers in our industry, but here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. When associations in our industry give out awards, most of the people in the industry realize it's just a bunch of nonsense. But the people outside the industry don't know that. The people outside the industry are looking at software providers winning awards for managed print services. And then they go look at the software and they're thinking to themselves, what the hell, we got a better software than this. Or worse, they think, man, we could create a better software than that. And we could go into that print industry and we could make millions and millions of dollars by bringing a software better than the one that just won the award. I mean, I hope there's nobody doing that. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I believe there are some people that do that. So I go to the website to find out who's going to win the 2025 awards, and they're not on the website. I did find this YouTube out there where they're announcing the 2025 winners. Thankfully, only 21 people had watched that YouTube. But folks, you go to the website for the MPSA, it says Leadership Awards, and you could join the MPSA. As a matter of fact, you got to be a member to get an award. And then I said, well, what does it take to be a member? And you go to that page, and there's some money you can pay. If you're an OEM or manufacturer, it's $3,000 a year. If you're a vendor, it's $1,500 a year. If you're a vendor or a consultant, it could be $250 a year. Independent dealers, $200 a year, and individuals, $150 a year. So the MPSA, they might be a bunch of volunteers, but they're collecting money. And folks, I got to ask the question, is the MPSA a business or a hobby? You know, and I get it, you're volunteers, I get it. That's great, you're volunteer, doing something in the industry as a volunteer. But you're also collecting money. Or is the only money you collect the people that win the awards, you don't collect that much. And the reason I'm bringing it up is maybe you could hire someone to manage this damn website and keep it up to date. Because folks, you know, you go to the place where the winners are, and they got the 2024 winners, but they don't have the 2025 winners. You go there to their blog, there's nothing on their blog about the 2025 winners, it's about the 2024 winners. So they do the YouTube, they do this presentation, they tell you all who the winners are, but they don't put it on the website, which I think is kind of crazy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is when I completely was just disgusted with the MPSA. And it was in that 21-22 time frame when I really started digging into these folks. And I realized that there was this company called Tigerpaw that had won Best MPS Software Provider of the Year 5 years in a row. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. MPS, Best Software, Tigerpaw. Okay? And then when I start looking at who's on the board of the MPSA and they work at Tigerpaw, I was like, what in the hell? And how does this company, Tigerpaw, win this thing 5 years in a row? And does anybody in our industry even know who Tigerpaw is today? Ladies and gentlemen, y'all remember seat-based billing? Y'all remember that Tigerpaw award for the top 100 most influential people in the industry? You know, the first year that came out, I was on the list. And I did a video and refused it. And some people thought, Ray, you are such an asshole. Why would you refuse an award? And the reason I refused it, and I explained in that episode, was because I believe that what Tigerpaw did was commoditize hard work. You don't put a list together of 100 people and not give the science and the details and how you put the list together. And to this day, I believe that list was a complete marketing scam to get people to call up people at Tigerpaw so they could promote Tigerpaw. But Tigerpaw, 5 years in a row, the best MPS software. How many dealers today are using Tigerpaw to run their print business? Seriously, come on, folks, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 100? Do they really deserve to win that software 5 years in a row? Come on, folks. So does it really matter who won this year? Does it matter who won last year? Does it matter who won next year? I don't think it matters at all. Tigerpaw's not even around as Tigerpaw. They sold to a company called Reeve.o. You go to Reeve.o's website, you don't see anything about the print channel. You don't see anything about a DCA tool for the print channel. I mean, seriously, who's using Tigerpaw? I want to bring this slide up lastly, and ladies and gentlemen, this is just to remind everybody that the IT services industry doesn't give a crap about managed print. And I think that's important, as a lot of folks are putting IT businesses together with print businesses. You know, it was a long time ago that CompT had decided, you know what, we're not going to certify IT people on managed print anymore. You know, CompT, the big educational platform. And I did an episode when they stopped doing that. The MPSA said, well, we'll do it. And I made a joke. Yeah, they went to the CompT's trash can, pulled out the CompT and managed print certification, and brought it home to the MPSA. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, associations have responsibility. And if they're going to give out an award, there has to be more merit-based than just willy-nilly giving people awards. And I have to ask the question again. Does anybody in this industry believe that Tigerpaw Software should have won the best MPS software of the year 5 years in a row? And if the answer is no, then they should lose all credibility with you too. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see you all on Monday.